fired up. Just do your thing here, bud. Nobody's any better at this than you are.
Have fun, take a deep breath.
Give him hell at the end. You like this?
Fight like hell like we do every week. You are the best here. Brett, be affirmative. You told me to get on.
Info.
Ready. Ready. Slow. Green, green, green. Lock it down, lock it down. 14.
I'm destroyed, and I just got drove through like 6 times on the 14. What the f*** is he thinking? That is the stupidest thing I've seen in my career. Literally.
Everything you described is accurate. Haven't even finished the second stage yet. Half the field's wrecked. Hell yeah! 11 got it.
Rowdy there, Matt. Good job, pal.
Thanks, man. Good job all day.
Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
Therefore, great job, guys.
And welcome back. It's week 3. We are headed to Homestead, Miami. One more race in the great state of Florida, and then we'll head out west to Las Vegas, and they'll get a chance to roll their dice out there. But hopefully everyone did well with their picks, or at least enjoyed the race last week. I certainly did. I thought it ended up being a fairly good race. I did find this quite funny cartoon on Twitter, and I guess I kind of stole it. I need to send him a message and tell him that, make sure he doesn't mind if I take it. But it's comics by Bruno, but it kind of goes through everything that happened in the race. Guess that one right with Kyle Busch not doing well again at road courses. There was a lot of discussion this past week about NASCAR throwing out their rainbow caution, or caution for a rainbow and a little bit of shower on the racetrack. And what that entails is NASCAR can throw one caution for rain, so it would allow teams to put rain tires on if they so chose to do so. Nobody chose to do so, and everybody was kind of left scratching their heads because it really didn't even rain enough to make the track all that wet other than in one corner. So, I mean, those guys are professionals. They should be able to slow down enough and get through a little bit of wetness without putting on rain tires for the rest of the course, because rain tires are not as efficient as slicks on any surface. So it was quite interesting on why they did it and that type of stuff. It probably ended up costing me a little bit, but that's okay. I still ended up a little bit ahead this past week. But second first-time winner back-to-back with Michael McDowell last week at the Daytona 500, and then this past Sunday with Christopher Bell, who pretty much I had a very good idea that he would do well moving over to Joe Gibbs. I did not see him winning this early or at a road course, but he did. He performed extremely well. So it's one of those that if I would have picked him, I'm not even sure he was in my top 25, but he was definitely not in my top 15. So he was not high on my radar at all. But congrats to him. The question is, will we see a third week in a row for a first-time winner? And we'll talk more about it, but this really starts to jumble up the field because they only take the top 16 drivers to make the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season progresses on how many winners we have and who makes it into the playoffs, because right now we have 2 who did not make the playoffs last year already into the chase. So with that said, let's get into a little bit of the track breakdown. And I did actually find a really cool video from Fox Sports and their intro last year at this race. And I'm going to let Jeff Gordon and their drone take you around a lap at Miami.
Yeah, we get to do it with a drone shot, which I love. And I love this racetrack, and I tell you why. It's abrasive, it's challenging, it's hot, it's slick. But look at turns 1 and 2. A little bit different banking. This is a progressive bank racetrack, so less banking, 18 degrees at the bottom, 20 at the top up near the wall. When that grip is good, you can run the shortest route right around the bottom, but as the grip goes away in these tires, you start gravitating towards the top. Here we go down this back straightaway, carrying a lot of speed, some big bumps getting into turn 3. Now you do a nice late turn in, sweep right down to the bottom when the tires are good. Like I said, again, less banking at the bottom, and as you move up the racetrack, as you lose that grip to get the momentum, use the air and that cushion up against the wall, slingshot off of turn 4 back to the start-finish line. And all doing that, sliding around with your elbows up, Mike.
Miami is one of the newer tracks on the circuit and was opened in 1999 and hosted the second to last and third to last race before becoming the final race of the year. Then in 2004, when NASCAR switched to the chase format, it became championship weekend and stayed championship weekend in Miami for all 3 of the upper series in NASCAR until 2020, when they decided to move championship weekend to Phoenix International Raceway, which moved the Miami race to the first time in its conception to earlier in the year, which this year with COVID and everything else happening ended up bringing it to a middle of the summer race. As anybody knows, Florida is hot almost year round and gets much more humid and hot. So it was something that had not been seen at Miami in its existence. The other interesting thing is, since it had been hosting championship weekend since 2004, this gave way to seeing a different type of race at Miami. Something that typically happens with the final championship weekend is you have the final 4 drivers who are all vying for the championship, and you've got the other 36 or so drivers going, okay, what do we do here? So a lot of teams would opt into, hey, let's put a package together, let's test this one thing, let's do these different packages. Or if you were still a rookie driver, all you really wanted to do was just stay out of the way of the top 4. And that's why typically you see the top 4 finish 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the final race of the year. Pretty much everybody else bows out and lets them go do their thing while just kind of battling for 5th or seeing what they can come up with in a test session in case they make it there the following year. So this is the first time that we've seen a full-on race with the new package, without having a championship being decided at the end of the race. So that made everything a little bit trickier. And with COVID, there was no qualifying, there was no practice, so everybody was kind of left scratching their heads a little bit with the notes that they had. Drew names for their starting spots, and Denny Hamlin ended up getting the pole, which also gave him the first pit selection. And typically you take the pit stall that's right at the exit of pit road, so all you have to do is just get across the line, which typically will get you out first. With that being said, Denny performed very well, his team performed very well. He ended up leading 137 of the 267 laps in that race, and when you know it, Denny Hamlin got lucky to have the pole again for this race. So I kind of expect a similar potential this year if he does anything like he did last year, and because the rules package is the same, the tire compound from last year will be the same tire compound that they're using this year. So a lot of things are working into Denny Hamlin's favor. And with the aero package the way it is, it does make it a little bit tougher to get up behind somebody and actually get a pass. The nice thing about Miami is, it, as Jeff was saying, it is a progressive banked track at 18 degrees at the bottom and 20 degrees at the top. So if you've got fresher tires, you can get around people. Kind of how that happens with qualifying is, it's called the performance metric qualifying. They use 15% of the fastest lap time positions in the previous race 25% of the driver's final race position, 25% of the owner's final race position, and 35% of the owner points currently. So all that taken in, they put it into a computer and spit it out. I don't even try to play with trying to figure out who has what. I just wait for them to come out on Tuesday or Wednesday. It is risky to, it is always risky to take the number one pole position starter, because as we'll see here in a second, the dramatic fall off if you don't finish first and don't lead a lot of laps. Somebody who starts 30th can almost end up with more points than you if they were to happen to finish in second and lead a few laps also. So we'll take a look at that in 1 second. As we get into the driver by driver breakdown, for the drivers that have done well at what we call a high banked, high tire wear larger track like Miami, Las Vegas, Auto Club Speedway, Dover, Darlington, and Miami. Those are the tracks we kind of compare to Miami, and that kind of gets put into my my sheets that I kind of figure out where I like to start people and things of that nature. And as we go through, we'll kind of look at the power rankings. Other drivers that are coming from the back that have done well, and we'll kind of go into further detail, is Matt DiBenedetto, Tyler Reddick, William Byron, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Larson will be all people that I will have a much more interest in this weekend. So let's take a look at the place differential chart and break down the race by race driver. So as you can see here, this is the place differential breakdown, starting positions 1 through 40 at the top, and then the finishing positions on the left hand side 1 through 40. So as you can see, if you start first and finish first, you get 45 points as a place differential, or PD. As you kind of go across here, if you were to happen to start 40th and end up finishing first, you can end up with 84 Draftkings points. It has happened. It's not very often, but you could possibly see somebody who would start in the upper 30s and end up finishing, first or second. Even if you were to finish in the 6th place, you're looking in the mid 70s. Well, as we get down to the optimal lineups later, the highest so far this year has been 85 points. Well, you have potential of somebody that could start at the tail end or in last spot and end up finishing first and almost get more points without doing anything else. So with that being said, let's kind of take a look at this weekend's Dixie Vodka 400 from Homestead, Miami. A 1.5 mile oval shaped track. It is in the track type of steep bank, high tire wear. 1.5 miles in length, 18 degrees to 20 degree progressive banking in the corners. The race length is 267 laps. Dominator points will be much more crucial at 186.95, and the breakdown of that is laps led 66.75 and fast laps of 120.15. Alright, so let's look at the driver by driver breakdown, starting at the top of the heap with Kyle Busch, who, just like last week, we have our total starts here. So he started 16 times at Homestead, Miami. He is the #1 overall power ranking from the sheets that I've kind of put together. His price tag is $11,800. He will be starting 24th on Sunday. In the past 5 races, he has 1 win, 3 top 5, 61.1 DraftKings average, 3.8 average finish, and last year in the summer race, he finished 6th. He has 2 wins in his 16 starts and 5 top 5s. Next on the price chart is Martin Truex Jr., $11,400. Excuse me. 16 starts also. is third on the power ranking. He does have 1 win, 3 top 5s, a 47.3 DraftKings average, 10.6 average finish. Last summer he finished 12th, and he is starting 9th on Sunday. Chase Elliott is next on the pricing at $11,000. He has 5 total starts here, 8 on the power ranking. He has 0 wins, but he does have 2 top 5s, a 44.4 DraftKings average, and an 8.0 average finish. Last summer he did finish 2nd. Kyle Larson did not race this last year because of his suspension, but this is one of his better tracks because when the tires do wear out, they do tend to run across. They run at the very top of the track because of the tire wear and the extra banking that they get up there, so they can keep their speed up. Kyle Larson is probably one of the best at running that line on a racetrack. So I expect Kyle to do fairly well in this race. He may potentially be somebody that I look at to win. And with his starting position of 17th would be somebody I will look very highly on points or PD upside. He does have 7 starts here, 3 top 5s. He does not have a win. He has a 67.6 DraftKings average, which is higher than anybody else on the board currently, and a 14.5 average finish. Next on the list is Ryan Blaney at $10,400. He has 6 starts here, comes in 9th in the power ranking, has 1 top 5 in the last 5 starts, a 27.3 DraftKings average, and a 17.2 average finish. As we get down to the next tier, Kevin Harvick at $10,100 has a total of 20 starts here, which is tied for the most starts at this racetrack. There is somebody else on here. We'll get to them, and I think it's Ryan Newman or Kurt Busch are also up there with running almost every race that has been run at Miami. Kevin's power ranking is 2nd. He has 1 win out of his 20 starts, but in his last 5, he has 4 top 5s and a 54.0 DraftKings average and an 8th place average finish. Brad Keselowski has power ranking of 10. He has 1 top 5 in the last 5, a 19.9 DraftKings average, and a 15th average finish. Next in line, Denny Hamlin, last year's race winner, is $9,600. He is starting from the pole, which, as we just discussed, could be a disadvantage if he does have any trouble at all. He is 5th on the power ranking. He does have that 1 win. He has a total of 3 wins here, but the 1 win last year. 1 top 5, 45.1 DraftKings average over the last 5, and an 8.2 average finish. Joey Logano at $9,300 has 12 total starts here. He is ranked 7th on the power ranking. Will be starting 2nd on Sunday. He does have 1 win, 3 top 5s, a 45.8 DraftKings average, and an 8.6 average finish. Next in line, that's not William Byron's car. I messed something up there. Okay, we'll just keep going here. William Byron, $9,100. The name is correct and the spot's correct. The car's not, though. $9,100. He is starting 31st. He's started here 3 times. He has 0 top 5, 0 wins, a 14.8 average finish, and a 24th average finish. Matty D. I can't ever pronounce that right. We'll just stay with Matty D. $8,800. He has 6 starts here. No wins, no top 5s, no top 10s. He is 12th on the power ranking because, as you can see, his starting position is 37th because with that he has nowhere to go but up, at least in the world of DraftKings, and pretty much on the track with 38 cars starting this race on Sunday. So I expect at least a lot of PD upside for Matt, and he typically does fairly well. He should end up, in the mid-teens. Tyler Reddick, maybe one of my dark horse picks. He ran here extremely well last year. He only has that 1 race in the Cup car, but he does have 3 Xfinity starts, and with those 3 Xfinity starts, he has 2 wins and 3 top 5s. Last year, he scored an 82.4 Draftkings and finished in 4th. So he comes in as a 4th power ranking for mine. Hey, that's the right car for Alex Bowman. Not going to go back and fix that now, but you guys get the gist. Alex Bowman, 8,300. He has 6 starts here. He is starting 13th. He has no wins, no top 5s, and 1 top 10, but he does have a 20.7 DraftKings average and an 18th place finish. He did finish 18th here last year. Starting 13th, he will be somebody that I will have a little bit of exposure to, but not much. Kurt Busch at 8,100 has 20 starts here also. He finished 17th last year here. He starts 5th this year. In the last 5 races, he has 0 wins and 0 top 5s and a 21.6 DraftKings average, 16.6 average finish. He does have 1 win here in his 20 starts and 4 top 5s. Eric Amarello, coming in at 7,900, starting 16th, has raced here 11 times. In the last 5, he has 0 wins, 1 top 5, a 24.5 DraftKings average, and an 18.8 average finish, and 13th on the power ranking. Dropping down to our next tier, starting with Austin Dillon, has raced here 7 times. He's starting 22nd this Sunday, has no wins, 2 top 10s, a 42.8 DraftKings average, 9.8 average finish, and 11th on our power ranking. Christopher Bell, we spoke about him earlier. He was last week's winner. He is raced here once, and he finished 8th. He has a 65.4 DraftKings average and an 8th place average finish because he only has that one. He does have 3 Xfinity starts here and 1 top 5. And something else to take note of is Christopher Bell's crew chief was Kyle Busch's crew chief for the last 3 or 4 years, and Kyle Busch has run extremely well at Miami, partially due to the crew chief. And with Christopher Bell getting Kyle's crew chief, that could be an indication that Christopher may end up running fairly well at this race. Also, he is starting 3rd, so the PD upside may be a little risky with Christopher Bell. Ross Chastain, this is my first one that I will not be showing any interest in. Even though this is kind of a hometown track for him, he kind of grew up in southern Florida growing watermelons with his family. That's why they call him the Watermelon Man. He price tag of $7,400. He is starting 32nd, so he does have a decent PD upside. He has 2 starts here and a 10.7 DraftKings average and a 34th place average finish. He did not race this race last year, but he does have a total of 7 Xfinity starts, 1 top 5, and 2 top 10s. Chase Briscoe, starting 30th in a price tag of $7,200, has 0 Cup starts here. He is a Cup rookie, but he has performed well here in his 4 Xfinity starts with 1 win, 2 top 5s. In those races, he averaged an 8.8 average finish and a 50.7 DraftKings average. This is a different car, different style of racing, but it's still the same track. So I'll have a little bit exposure to Chase Briscoe. I'm still a little nervous on him. That's why he has a power ranking of only 18th. Next one out of my list that I won't have any exposure to is Bubba Wallace at 7,000. He has 3 starts here. He finished 13th, and that was his best last year. 0 wins, 0 top 10s. He has a 22.7 average finish. Coming down the line here, Eric Jones has 4 total starts here with 1 top 5. He's starting 18th. He has an 18th average finish and a 23.3 DraftKings average. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., priced at $6,700, has 9 starts here. He will be starting 15th on Sunday. 20th place average finish, a 19.3 DraftKings average. All right, next on our list is Cole Custer at $6,600. He only has 1 start here also, and he will be starting 13th on Sunday. Last year he finished 22nd, and in Xfinity he does have 4 starts with 1 win and 3 top 5s. I still don't feel great about Cole Custer yet. I want to see some more races before I start putting him higher on the power rankings list. He is racing in a Stewart-Haas car, which is actually a great powerhouse car. I just think he needs more time in the Cup cars. Ryan Newman, 19 total starts here. Will be starting 23rd on Sunday. His price tag is $6,400. Has a DraftKings average of 20.9 and an average finish of 17.4. I expect him to probably do the same, probably finish in the teens, so there is a little bit of PD upside, and he is 22nd on the power ranking. Chris Buescher, 6,300, has a total of 5 starts here in Miami and will be starting 12th this coming Sunday. Has a 23.7 DraftKings average and a 21.2 average finish. So there is a slight PD downside to Chris Buescher and a power ranking of 23rd. Now we're starting to get down into the affordables, and to give you some price relief, Michael McDowell at 6,100 did have another top 10 last week, so he started his 2021 season off to a bang with the win and a top 10, which is great for Michael. He is starting 6th this week. That's going to be tough because his average finish here is a 20.6, but there's a lot to be said about momentum. So I expect him to probably improve on his average finish. Not sure he's able to stay up in the top 10 though. So maybe in the mid-teens range for Mr. McDowell. So he has a power ranking of 23rd. Ryan Preece is another young driver in the Cup Series. He only has 3 starts. He will be starting 8th this coming Sunday. He's started off strong this year. Hopefully that will continue for him, but I still will kind of put a hold on him until I see more from him. So that's why his power ranking is 28th. But he does have a 23.2 DraftKings average and a 24.5 average finish. As you see, quite a far PD downside for Mr. Pierce. Daniel Suarez in the Camping World car. I still think that's one of the sharpest. Their paint jobs this year are still one of the sharpest ones I've seen. He has a total of 4 Cup starts here. He only has an 8.0 DraftKings average, a 27.3 average finish, starting 21st, so there is a little bit of PD downside, but he was in garbage equipment last year, and the verdict is still out on what type of equipment this new team has actually got, but they have shown pretty good speed so far out of the first 2 races. Last year he finished 31st, but like I said, he was driving garbage. But in his Xfinity starts, he does have a win and 2 top 10s out of his 2 starts. So once he gets in good equipment, he will be somebody who should do fairly well. As you can see, Anthony Alfredo, Fast Pasta, as he's better known, 33rd on the power ranking, no starts here in a Cup car, and 2 Xfinity starts total at this track. He does have 1 top 5, a 45.7 DraftKings average, and a 7.5 average finish. So he's still too new for me to put any real weight on him. Corey LaJoie at 5,400. This may be your best value option. He does have 4 starts here. He's starting 25th. He does have an average finish of 31.3 and a 10.1 DraftKings average. I expect him to probably improve on that just because of what is starting in front of him. And Justin Haley, 5,300. No starts here in a Cup car. His best finish is a 6th in the Xfinity. Quinn Huff at 5,100. I do like Quinn's new sponsor, which is 8 Ball handcrafted chocolate whiskey. just because I do enjoy billiards also as much as I enjoy watching and betting on NASCAR. He is starting in the absolute dead last spot in 38th. Still don't think I would put anything on him unless you just absolutely have to have salary relief, but you will not hit the optimal. So if you're trying to win a tournament, I would stay far away from any of these guys from here on. Josh Bilicki at 5,000, starting 36. He has raced here twice and has finished 32nd in his best. James Davidson at 4,900, starting 29th. And I keep spelling his name wrong. It's Davison, no D, Davison. I got to fix that. No starts here in the Cup and no starts here in Xfinity. It's going to be a long day for Mr. Davison. Cody Ware, once again, no Cup starts, no Xfinity starts, no information, and he's starting 26. I do not expect him to stay that high. He will fall. Timmy Hill does have 3 starts here, but his average finish is 34.7, and he's starting 33rd. I expect him to stay right where he is, if not get a little bit worse. BJ McLeod, starting 34th, 3 starts, 34th place average finish. I'll stay away from all of these guys. None of them have made the optimal lineup. Garrett Smitley, 4,500, no starts here in a Cup car, 5 starts here in Xfinity, and a 24th place finish. Real quick, we'll go through the top 15 picks for DraftKings. Kyle Busch comes in at first, Kevin Harvick second, Martin Truex in third, Tyler Reddick with a little bit of salary relief at 8,500 fourth, Denny Hamlin, our last year's winner, at 9,600, Kyle Larson at 10,700, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Brad Kay, Austin Dillon at 7,700, a little bit more salary relief down here with Austin, Matt DD at 8,800, Eric Almirola at 7,900, Ricky Stenhouse at 6,700, and Eric Jones at 6,900. Your salary relief is going to come 11 through 15, and I see this being a very heavily, these guys that are at the top, everybody's going to have at them. This race doesn't show a lot of they race pretty well up top. The track is very wide, multiple grooves, decent amount of passing, but not a whole lot of wrecks. That's why I didn't have much of a highlight reel, because they don't seem to wreck here very often. Optimal lineup so far, as you can see from this, our starting positions were, our PD upside was huge, both at Daytona, not so much at the road course. It was much more finishing positions because they only ran 70 laps. And then last year's Homestead Cup race, as you can see, PD upside was a little bit more into what was figured out, and it was much more on laps led and fastest laps. As you can see, Denny was in the optimal lineup, starting first and finishing first, but Tyler Reddick was very close to him, starting 24th and finishing 4th. With that being said, that wraps up my driver report. I do keep telling you guys I am going to show you, or at least put out, my Xfinity ranking. So let's take a look at that real quick. If you're betting on the Xfinity race tomorrow, here's kind of my ranking. Austin Cindric, Harrison Burton, Tyler Reddick. So Tyler's going to get some practice on Saturday. Jeb Burton, Noah Grayson, AJ Allmendinger. Our first real salary relief is Brandon Brown, Matt Snyder, Landon Castle, and Joe Graff Jr. So I will be having a little bit of money on that, and I hope to start doing a breakdown, maybe not as long or in depth, with Xfinity and trucks in the future, but right now I'm much more focused on the Cup races and getting that out to you guys. So I appreciate you listening, taking the time. If you like this video, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and share with anybody that you think may be interested. And good luck this weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks.
Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here.
Only about one thing tonight, getting the W, so got to be around at the end to do that.
Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Let's go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am. All the way to the checkered. You're fine. Nobody's got to run. Checker time, baby!
Hell yeah!
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day. Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
10-4, great job, guys.
Excellent work, my man. Excellent work. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome. Set out with a goal, we got it here, bud. Thank you very much.
Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the fastest car here, bud.
Probably killed our deal there. Just feel like I gave one away. Yeah, boys! Way to rebound! Great job!
Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend. What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.